numbers. I don't know. Hey, you're here with Sarah and Chris for our Friday recap. Wanted to touch base with folks and let you know what's been going on in climate news at the State House this week in Montpelier. To help set us up for where we are now, I think we should talk a little bit about all the work that we've done to get ready for this session. So we came together as a Climate Solutions Caucus in May. We had an all-day retreat. From that, we set up 4 working groups, legislators who wanted to spend some time over the summer really working to develop some meaningful climate action, meaningful steps that we can take this year that will set us in the right direction to meet our greenhouse gas reduction goals. So all of those groups met over the summer virtually and sometimes in person to take testimony from other, interested folks. And
did you see the Times-Argus basically endorsed our whole platform?
I saw that. That was amazing. Maybe we can get Bob the Green Guy to plug that right into the notes.
That's right.
But yes,
Time to act, I think was the headline.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never seen that.
The road show, right?
Yeah.
So in the fall, we hit the road. We went to 10 different counties, had 20 different meetings. We met with, over 1,000 Vermonters to talk about these priorities. And, I think the Times-Argus editorial this week really shows that we're getting a lot of traction. The other really promising thing about the banner priorities is that most of our environmental groups in the state came together and took a look at it, look under the hood, kick the tires and all of that good stuff. And they also have endorsed these 4 banner priorities.
Yesterday, I got to talk to VBSR and they had a whole coalition of business owners here, leaders here, asking for action on climate. And one of the things I said to them was, first of all, VBSR and our business community asking for action on climate has enormous impact in the State House.
Yes, absolutely.
But I particularly like pairing them with young people, young Vermonters who've been speaking up at our forums here in the State House. What a great match. You have socially responsible businesses, you have our young people, you got our newspaper editorials kind of coming together. We feel like there's a moment. And we're hoping we can capitalize it. Obviously, we're late to the dance, as it were.
Yeah. So this week, of course, was the much anticipated governor's budget address. And a lot of the work that we did in the summer and fall was in hopes that we could grow a groundswell that would compel the governor to take some leadership on climate. So
the good news was he did talk a lot about climate change, actually. A sizable portion of his speech was talking about the climate crisis and figuring out how we're going to carve solutions for Vermonters. It was very light on detail, but just the fact that he's honoring the intensity, I guess, of where voters are at on this issue, I think is positive. He didn't have a lot to say though, and so the way it works in this building is he gives his address on Tuesday. That's 4 days ago. And it takes a while for all of the details to roll out of what he's actually funding. One of the things that, I don't know if you caught this, he said that one of his ideas was to use any surplus money in a waterfall fashion. So the idea is after the year's budget is completed, if we've had more revenue come in, so you got a little extra money, then sometimes the legislature will say, last year we said, any extra money we're going to put towards the pension deficit, for instance. He's saying we should use that for climate. So that's good, I guess. We would say that we want to have more money going to climate issues like electric vehicles, weatherization, things like that. But it's not right that this would be an add-on. Oh, and if we have a little extra cash,
it's pocket
let's
change.
deal with the climate emergency.
Couch cushions, all that good stuff. Yeah.
So it's interesting. Another thing that I'm watching for, and Sarah's frustrated, I'm obsessed with this, but last year, the legislature increased spending on weatherization by about 50%. We went from roughly 11 million to 17 million in our total spend on weatherization. This is helping Vermonters wrap their homes, save money on fuel, good jobs, by the way, and something we're falling behind on, and so we took a leap, about 50% increase. We cobbled that money together, one-time money. So it's going to be really interesting. If the governor means what he says about particularly jobs and climate where they meet, weatherization's one of the best examples we have. And frankly, we need reliable funding because we need to prove to Vermonters that it's worth going into this workforce.
Right. Yeah.
I will be stunned if he fully funds what we did last year on weatherization, but I'm still hopeful, and we haven't figured this out yet.
Yeah.
We'll see what he does. We will definitely update you on that. And I promise you, one of the things that the governors do, and they've all done this every year that I've been here, they know something's important to the legislature like weatherization, so they don't fund it in their budget. That gives them some money to talk about wonderful things like universal after school. Everyone goes, oh, that'd be great. And then you realize, we cut off grandma to pay for universal after school, and the legislature goes, well, we don't want to do that.
Let's figure that one out.
So we have to untangle this. Weatherization, though, is an important program, clearly. It's something we have invested in over time and we need to do more of. But it's a simple sort of one line on the budget. We will figure out if he means it or not.
Yeah. It's nice to talk the talk, but we'd really like to see if he's going to walk the walk.
Yeah, remains to be seen.
Yeah. So this week we had a great event here in Montpelier at the Garage Cultural Center. EAN hosted a panel discussion on the Global Warming Solutions Act, and we had some folks from Maine and Massachusetts, some folks from here in Vermont. The panel was moderated by the Chair of Energy and Technology in the House, Tim Briglin. And it was a great conversation. So we're going to get a link in there for you to take a look at that if you want to really geek out on the details of how we bring accountability to our climate goals and how we set Vermont on a path to really come together, make a plan, and start executing that plan for reducing our reliance on fossil fuels and transitioning to cleaner, cheaper energy.
And the Global Warming Solutions Act, I hope people, we talked about it this fall and it's been in the press with some, but it is law in Massachusetts from a decade ago.
Right.
And last year in Maine and New York, they signed up. So we're able, someone say, well, you're behind the eight ball. That's true. But we're also able to learn from what those states did and sort of perfect some of their work, and that's why it's exciting to have these folks come into the state and tell us about what we need to know.
And thanks for Bob the Green Guy getting right on the EAN event this week, and also for being here with us this morning.
And you can find, if you want to look at the Global Warming Solutions Act meeting the other day, you can find it in our either right on the video or down below. Another thing we had in Climate Caucus meeting yesterday was a presentation of S220 from Senator Jeanette White. This is a bill there where we work with our licensed professionals like HVAC contractor, real estate agents, real estate appraisers, on and on and on, plumbers, electricians, and try to bring them in as partners because after all, they're in thousands of Vermonters' homes every day, helping us make investment decisions.
Just making sure that they get education on what our climate goals are and how their profession can help Vermonters save money on their costs.
So Senator White is the chair of the committee, so that would suggest that the committee is taking this very seriously. And so it's great to hear from her. One of the things that came out of our discussion over the last many months is the idea that big banks are willing to help people who are signing a mortgage get a little more money, get into a green mortgage, which is a slightly better interest rate, if they're committing to put solar up, for instance, or do some weatherization or some kind of climate, some kind of energy efficiency work in their home. So you go to get your $200,000 mortgage, and you get a $215,000 mortgage, and use the balance for solar. As I understand, I've been talking to the Bankers Association, some of my good friends here in Montpelier. Freddie and Franny are completely open to this. One of the things that they need, though, is appraisers to have a way to quantify, well, you just put $20,000 worth of solar.
Yeah.
Does that add $20,000 worth of value to your house? Does it add 25? Does it add 12? We need to figure this out. It's like, it's crazy. So there are apparently 2 green appraisers, I've been told, in the state. But this work that Senator White and others are taking on is a great way to have this discussion. We need our workforce to help Vermonters who are dying to do this, especially when it could involve very sensible access to capital to make some of these investments.
Yeah, these are the logical times for Vermonters to step up and make an improvement in their home.
And we heard over and over, people are eager to do this, but coming up with money is hard.
Yeah.
So it's a small example, but something, across the board, and if people have ideas, send them to us. When we find little hurdles, little roadblocks that we need to address, we're eager to do that, and we're eager to figure out how to do that. We need everybody's ideas to come forward.
Yeah. Yep. So you'll get our contact information. By all means, reach out to us if you have thoughts or ideas. Every once in a while, someone will send us a message and come up with a new and interesting climate action that we hadn't thought of yet. And, we're more than happy to try to put those in the mix. So please stay in touch.
We do have a favor to ask.
A big favor. Yep. We're gonna ask you to help out because it takes all of us getting out there and getting involved in order to push action on a lot of these really difficult issues. And here's one of them.
So TCI, the Transportation Climate Initiative, this is 12 northeastern states coming together, about a quarter of the country's economy, to create a cap and invest system for transportation fuels. Transportation here in Vermont and elsewhere is the fastest growing segment of our emissions.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard for us to address as a go alone state. And so it's very exciting to think of Maine over to New York, down to Virginia, everyone in between being part of this. And the governor's been engaged in that conversation. Right now, they're having public forums to talk to Vermonters about, should we get into TCI? Do we want to be one of these 12 states? I think we do, but we need people to get out, learn the details, and speak up.
Yeah.
So
there's going to be 2 events coming up this week, and then a couple more the first and second weeks of February. So we've got January 29th in St. Johnsbury at 6 p.m. And if you want the details, we'll have it up on the screen. And then January 30th down in Manchester. So if either of those are local to you, in Manchester on the 30th, it starts at 7 p.m. and location details below. So definitely get out if you're near St. Johnsbury, go and participate. If you're in Manchester, there'll be a short presentation from the folks at A&R who are working on TCI just to get you a little bit of the details. But really we need Vermonters out there saying that, this is how it can work for us.
This is a chance for us to have millions of dollars coming into the state to help us invest in sustainable transportation alternatives. And I don't see how we do this absent some kind of regional program. It's building on RGGI, which has worked well in the energy sector, close down coal plants, et cetera, in New England. Beyond, we really need partners in other states, and we need Vermonters to speak up. So please come out.
Yeah.
And there are, in February, in Burlington and Springfield, there will be meetings, but I will give you those details next time.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right.
That should do it for this week. It's been a busy one. I would guess bills will start really rolling in the next couple of weeks. So we'll have more those kinds of updates in the weeks ahead.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for being here.
Go get 'em.